So Nightreign has just dropped and it has achievements. And of course, since I am a man of my word, looks like we'll be platinuming the game. Only 60 hours in 3 days. I'm sure my work is going to love that one. But of course, that's not why you're here. I don't exactly know why you're here. A little disclaimer before we get started. I am on PC. Yes, I'm sorry. Not technically a plat. It's just easier to record and all my friends are there. So listen, I'll get a real plat when GTA 6 drops. Moving on, let us take a look at our first couple of trophies. The Shrouded Round Table Hold and the Relic. Not a lot of brain power here. We just have to make our way through the tutorial. So we get used to the controls. Die to Morgott because, I mean, it wouldn't be a FromSoft game if he wasn't dying in the tutorial. Get teleported to the Round Table Hold, and once you are there, this trophy will pop. Like I said, pretty simple. For the Relic trophy, you're going to need to press a few buttons. And by that, I mean do your first expedition. Of course, at this point, I was new and thought I was going to help my team by choosing the bird. Couple that with the fact that this was the first run, this went about as well as you would expect. We did make it to the final boss though, so go me. Win or lose doesn't matter because you will be rewarded with your first set of relics. Once you've put them in your vessel, you get this trophy. The next batch of trophies are also pretty simple, but they still require you to press even more buttons. And by that, I mean trying to stay alive while 3 dogs run you down. Of course, Lady Luck was not on my side as the matches after this went even worse. Players leaving and DCing along with inexperience resulted in nothing more than relic runs. I then got it in me to swap characters thinking it would help. It didn't. A couple hours of this goes by before I was able to call upon some friends who were thankfully playing at the time. While a 3-stack isn't going to help us being new to the game, it definitely helped that we was able to communicate with each other. Where to go, how to loot, passing weapons back and forth. You know, talking. Of course, this is a FromSoft game, so we still died, but with each death came experience. With experience came tighter and faster routes, which led to more loot and more boss kills. 10 or more, to be exact. Of course, after wiping out half the map and loaded to the brim with goods, it was only a matter of time before we beat the first boss. Getting both Untold Power and Trisyphilis? Trisyphilos? This sounds like an STD. After making our way back to the round table, we interact with it and open up the rest of the game, getting another trophy, of course, for our efforts. We then talk to the lady in white, giving her her compass where she ore farms the fuck out of us.
I've had quite enough of all the ceremony. No one ready to get my hands dirty. We'll slay this Night Lord yet.
We get another trophy out of it, at the very least. We then slide over to the jar merchant, purchase the frame, and take it to a ghost. I guess this for some reason pisses her off because now she wants to fight. And like most things in a FromSoft game, it just isn't fair. We swap characters, cheese her with spells, and after doing so, she joins us as a playable character. And a trophy. We then go back to the jar merchant, purchase a vessel, doesn't matter which one, and slot in a different relic. Of course, giving us our last trophy for this batch. The game has now officially begun with all of the Night Lords available to fight. We choose to simply go down the list and try the Gaping Jaw first. At this point, our runs were looking pretty okay. We had a plan, even if it wasn't the best. It would get us to the final boss pretty frequently. This is where we also get introduced to the Shifting Earth events. These are random things that happen to the map, holding some secrets that offers a buff or passive along with some boss or bosses. Our first one being the Crater. We explore, try to fight the boss at the bottom before running out of time and losing the run. We run it back, this time without getting knowledge checked, and with a random in tow, we slaughter the map and get what I think is still the best run I've had so far, getting both the legendary armament and the set and steadfast. We then steamroll the Gaping Jaw and get his trophy as well. We were stacked this run. We were fucking stacked.
I was gonna say, if you have rewind, this guy's on mega dead.
Hey, we were fucking stacked that run, my guy. Holy shit. Baron of the Night, GG, another trophy. As you can see, the trophies finally start to slow down as me and my friend just play the game. We try different characters, we try different builds, try to tighten up our routes to maximize loot and relics, getting this trophy in the process. Sadly, all good things must come to an end as my friend must leave and I start solo queuing. And if you've solo queued in any team game before, you know how well this went. Except like other team games, you can't communicate with your randoms. Oh yeah, and fuck this boss. This is the first real boss that I got stuck on. From me playing Recluse to not getting good fire spells, this boss was just such a pain that I had to swap characters. I swapped over to Iron Eyes and made his starting bow do fire damage. I figured it would help unfuck a fucked up run, And I was right. I got lucky with some competent players, but unfortunately couldn't get the loot I needed to comfortably do the boss. Thankfully, like I said, I made sure to have a backup, and after 5 hours of no trophies, 3 of those spent trying to kill this overgrown moth, the fire bow starter build was just enough, grabbing a well-deserved trophy on the way out. Holy fuck, man. Holy Jesus, what a fucking trophy. Fuck that boss. Like, god damn, that boss had me switching characters and everything. We get another batch of trophies here because the next boss doesn't take that long to beat, and defeating him allows us to fight the final boss if we want. Not going to get ahead of ourselves just yet, we first need to kill Augur. He's somewhat of a gimmick fight. He has 2 fuck you abilities, one where he lays down for a nap and you go with him, and another where he wants to wake you up with a bang. Of course, like the previous boss, I had to get lucky with some good teammates and a good run for solid loot. Once that all comes together though, this boss really doesn't stand a chance. We grab the Augur trophy and get a cutscene before the night begins. The final boss is now available for us to do. Of course, we do got other trophies and builds to make, so fuck that. The next boss on the list is the Madness Goat. This boss quickly becomes my favorite fight in the game, but there is a few things we grab beforehand. Remember when I said those shifting earth events had secrets you could find? Well, we gotta find them. Each one has a trophy tied to it, and the first one up is the mountaintop. There really isn't a whole lot to this trophy. You just run up the mountain, kill or run past the dragon, and grab the passive at the top. Of course, getting the trophy in the process. We then go on to lose the run because it can't be that easy, but as we slowly grind away trying to find good teammates, another shifting earth event spawns, and I thank whoever created me for having good teammates this run, because to grab this secret, you need to kill a boss. And he is no pushover. Of course, with good teammates in the legacy skill, we get a legendary that is useless to us, and the trophy for the Shrouded City. Oh, the Shrouded City. Find the secret. I did it. I did the thing. I pressed the button. We then, with the same group, go on to beat the Madness Beast, giving us a trophy and enough souls to buy some clothes from the dresser, giving us yet another trophy. Change garb, be a dresser for the first time. Damn. I'm a sexy bitch. Moving on, the next trophies were a little rough. Mainly this one, as this boss is... well, he's kind of just a lot. He kicks up his moveset very early on in his health bar and has a lot of pressuring moves and fuck you attacks. Couple this with not having good loot and you were just in for an ass beating. Of course, before that though, we get another secret area to explore, this one being filled with Scarlet Rot, and as horrible as that sounds, this is actually very easy. You run to the castle, you find the clue to where the secret is, you run there, you grab the passive, and boom, done. Easy trophy with a good passive to boot. Of course, the pendulum swings in the opposite direction because this is a FromSoft game, and we still need to beat this boss. And my god, he's just a lot. Honestly, he's one of the better fights in the game at the moment. As I said previously, everything he does past a certain health point requires you to be on your toes. However, this is still a roguelike game, meaning at some point you will get a run where you are just super overpowered. Of course, having friends help, and with 2 revives in our pocket, we was finally able to scrub out a win. We were so loaded this round too. With the buff to start it out, and we had 2 fucking revives just to kick. God damn. The next batch of trophies were not as nearly as bad, but there is one thing I still need to mention, and that is these raid trophies. These trophies are only obtainable when certain bosses spawn in your run. Of course, you need to complete them, as in killing the boss, meaning we just have to keep playing and hoping that we get them to spawn in. And also at the same time, hoping that we have good teammates to beat them. I did get lucky with the first one. While I wasn't recording, I did at least get the trophy on vid before it went away. With this team, I also went on to kill the Miasma of Night, getting us the Fissure in the Fog trophy. I could talk more about this boss, but to be honest, it's kinda ass. He's a cool design. He's just a very easy boss. So we get a couple more batches of trophies here. With all the bosses dead, it was time to complete the game. And that meant taking on the night aspect. And he definitely lived up to the name. Oh, what the fuck? Now, while all these moves are very flashy, it isn't as overwhelming as you think. Of course, this is still a final boss, so you are going to die. Even with a solid team, you still have to learn the boss in order to win. But as I said in the past, this is a roguelike. Good run, good loot, good team. It really won't take that long to beat. Once you do beat him, he will give you 2 trophies, along with a 3rd after you get the credits scene. Reach the ending. Dawn. Not even a problem. That didn't make any fucking sense. Now with the game complete, it was time to play cleanup, which for most of these trophies that you were seeing is playing until RNG gives us the boss raids that we need. The first one we got was the Fell Omen, and after a failed attempt the first time, I got lucky with getting him again the next match, giving us the trophy. Oh, we did it. Bro, I thought he left. I thought he fucking left. Oh, I was about to be pissed. From here, I decided to take on the Night Lord Slayer, requiring you to kill 3 Night Lords in a row. Yes, you do need to get lucky with teammates 3 times in a row, or I guess just play single player. But there are a few things that you can do that are in your control. First is your route in the match. I'll tell you what I did that got me this trophy, but don't expect this to be the most mid-maxed. First, we hit the starting camp that we land near to get our first level. We then move to the nearest castle, camp, or church, rushing bosses as fast as we can. We get any flash charges along the way while also prioritizing ruins that have element drops that the boss is weak to. During day 2, we have some options. If you have a good team, you could go to the secret areas, getting the passives and killing the bosses there. If you want to keep it simple, your first day has to go well. This will set you up for your second day so that you can start killing the big bosses around the map. Run around, kill as many as you possibly can. This will give you a lot of runes and a lot of loot choices, buffing you as much as possible for the boss fight. Of course, you should also still be grabbing any flash charges along the way. Doing this got me to the final fight around level 12 to 13 consistently. I would also advise to take any revives that you can, because if you are good enough at the boss, you will be able to carry. As painful as it sounds, I had to do this during the Jaw Beast when I was trying to get this trophy. The final tip that I can give is to do the 3 easiest bosses. Now, I understand that this is going to be up to personal preference, but the 3 bosses that I picked were the 3-headed dog, Slackjaw, and Cold Feet. These 3 have very simple and easy to learn movesets, and with enough patience, you will get this trophy. I killed 3 in a row. I mean, the one that I killed before was like last night, but like this should be the trophy. Don't tell me I have to do it in one sitting. There we go. Defeated 3 Night Lords in a row. That wasn't that bad. I got super lucky. After this, we went on to the shop and bought all of the vessels, giving me another trophy. For the Mastery trophy, we had to make a build that grants us more runes during the run. And also during this run, take anything that gives you more runes. It isn't that hard if you follow the route that I gave earlier, and once you reach level 15, the trophy will pop. We're kind of gliding through these trophies now because, like I said, this is just cleanup at this point. But next up is going to be the Old Jail. This trophy requires you to open jails and pray for a lucky boss spawn. There are 3 bosses and you only need one of them to spawn and beat for the trophy. As far as what I looked up, the 3 bosses are the Deathrite Bird, the Godskin Duo, or the Ancient Dragon. I got the Godskin Duo, which I think is probably the easiest out of the 3, so lucky me. Oh, I got my spawn. Seen the sleep pot thing, so huge. Give me my trophy. Yeah, Old Jail. Let's go. And a gold. God damn. From here, we also get the final shifting earth event that we needed, which was the crater. We got to go down to the bottom, beat the overgrown worm that has way too much health, and upgrade your weapon. The trophy will pop right after. Miyazaki, sensing that I was gliding through this too damn fast, decided to shut down the servers. As a joke, they were just doing server maintenance. I figured since the game was down, I would start to try to grind out what I think is probably the hardest trophy in this game. Beating the Night Lord with every single character is tedious. Reason being is because learning the Night Lord's moveset is pretty easy, but doing it on every single character while trying to have a consistent run with consistent loot in a roguelike is kind of hard. Of course, I'm not going to sit here and make you guys suffer through what I went through with every single one of these characters. I will, however, go through each Nightreigner and give you guys a quick tip. For the Duchess, get lucky with your weapon drops and get the Glintstone Chris. As Iron Eye, stay away and shoot him with a Holy Bow. Raider, Wilder, and the Bird is just jumping holy attacks. As for the Executor, his parrying is just cheating. For a Revenant, grab a CO with Holy Disc and he kind of just dies. Yeah, he really doesn't like holy damage. Of course, Revenant being the final character that I did this on, and a good 6 hours of my life down the drain, we got the trophy. That was a little easy. That was a little easy. A champions. There it is. Defeated the Night Lord with all characters. What a trophy. Oh yeah, I also got the Plague Raid trophy while I was doing this. Thanks, RNG. Unfortunately, that bullshit getting out of the way only makes room for more bullshit. This bullshit being in a completely different ballpark though, because I sat here for almost 4 hours trying to get the Arbiter to spawn in my run. I thought my runs were completely cursed and went diving into Reddit forums trying to figure out what the fuck was going on. So if anybody else is struggling with this trophy, just keep re-rolling the Dark Drift. It'll happen. Of course, after 4 hours of my brain melting, re-rolling worlds trying to get this giant furry to spawn, he finally did, cursing me in the process. Thankfully though, we do not have to fight him, as we just have to run over to him and pay him off like the hooker he is, and getting the final trophy in return. Here we go, I did it. Game's platinumed. Game's platinumed. Oh! Oh! GG. And there it is. There's your plat. Well, kinda, because I'm not on PlayStation, but I do hope you guys enjoy this all achievements acquired screen. Yeah, like usual, I don't really know what to say here. Drink some water.